Stay Calm When You Know You'll Be Stressed by David Levitin, delivered 9 years ago. I'll give you this talk 4 over 10, and this is a personal opinion. It introduces a concept known as the premortem,
Thing called prospective hindsight, also called the premortem.
which is basically a way to preempt negative occurrences.
You look ahead and you try to figure out all the things that could go wrong, and then you try to figure out what you can do to prevent those things from happening or to minimize the damage.
I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like it doesn't exactly agree with the title of the talk, which is How to Stay Calm When You Know You'll Be Stressed. It's giving clickbaits. Another thing is that it's not exactly a very new idea. So things like wills, things like emergency funds, those things run on ideas that are similar to this. But then what he prescribes as the premortem is very specific.
The idea of the premortem is to think ahead of time to the questions that you might be able to ask that will push the conversation forward. Remember, under stress, we're not thinking clearly, so think about how you're going to work through this ahead of time.
So it talks about like if someone has a disease, a sickness or something,
When you're confronted with a medical decision to make.
they won't be able to talk to their doctors, their other providers adequately, ask the right questions.
There's a question you should ask at this point, a statistic you should ask for, a number needed to treat. You should ask at this point for another statistic, and that is, tell me about the side effects, right?
But the thing is that, how many situations do you want to do that for?
This stands as a proxy for all kinds of medical decision making, and indeed for financial decision making and social decision making, any kind of decision you have to make that would benefit from a rational assessment of the facts.
I don't know, I just feel like the idea doesn't have practical value. Apart from that, I think that the talk was well delivered and engaging. He was able to capture his audience with stories and figures, although the figures that he used, in my opinion, were mainly for shock value, even though he said they were not for shock value.
You might be thinking I pulled this number out of the air for shock value.
So he gives a very extreme statistic.
So the number needed to treat for the most widely prescribed statin, 300.
I think it was for shock value because it's difficult to find a number that matches up to that initial statistic he gave. Like, even for him, because the next number he mentions,
Removal of the prostate for cancer, the number needed to treat is 49.
which was supposed to be similar, was many times less than that initial statistic. He used a very extreme figure and says it's not for shock value. It was most likely for shock value, in my opinion.